Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Pre-Market Info.
And Wednesday's edition of Pre-Market Info is featuring a sell-off here. We are down 10 points here right now on the S&P futures September contract, 1597.5. We've been as low as 1594.
Right, we had the double close for Monday and Tuesday, 1606.75 and 1607 and a quarter. Could not hold that early in the session and came down and tested the lows from Thursday, Friday, and Monday right at that 1494 level. That's your low so far in the session. That's the bogey for today. Will be the fourth attempt down in the regular session. So major support may be going by the wayside in the spoos today.
I'm going to have to knock you on the side of the head with your handles there, Joel. You're saying 1494 again. I'm going to start selling you at these 1494s. I think you meant 1594 there, Joel. I always joke about him with the handles because he looks at the 94 and not the 15. But anyways, regardless, 1594 is absolutely enormous. That was the low from Thursday last week. The low from Friday of last week was close there, and the low from Monday of last week. The overnight low is at 1594. That is your bogey. That is the number today to keep an eye on. And we seem to be having a little bit of technical difficulties with the sound again. We do apologize for that, but we will move back into the equities here. Joel, are you still there? We've got a couple other ones moving here. We do have, I did want to mention Apple. Obviously, it had a big move up yesterday again. Did kiss up to the 420 area that we had been talking about. Actually got as high as 421.63 before peeling back just slightly to close at 418.49. And I think there's a bet we need to settle up with on that Apple as well.
You got me on that one, Dennis. I was a little bit hesitant about doing that, just about your 2-day move and the follow through off the Raymond James upgrade, and I just didn't have good discipline, and I took that bet, and I think I think I lost that almost by the first bracket. But you did get a nice move in Apple. That seemed to support the market early in the session. Looking at Apple today, I mean, if you can get back in that 420 area, I think some sellers will use an opportunity today to step ahead of yesterday's high, which was 421.63. I think the sellers start lining up at the 420 even level.
Yeah, that 420 number was huge. If you look back on the charts going further out, if we go back into March, we had a low 419, 420, 3-4 times in March we bottomed at 420. In April we had the same thing. We eventually did cut through it in mid-April, but then even when we cut back up in May, we had paused there for a day. Came back down in May to 420. Obviously we've cut through it in June, but coming back up, old support can become new resistance. The 420 area still remains a big number for technical traders out there. Do want to move on to the S&P is cutting the ratings on 3 European banks, Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, and Barclays. All of those financials are trading down here in the pre-market on the S&P rating cut. That's obviously going to put some pressure on your U.S. financials as well. You've got in the pre-market Goldman Sachs already trading down $1 off this news, a little bit with fair value as well. But I got to think with those European downgrades of these financials that the U.S. financials will have some pressure on them too, at least off the open.
Yeah, weren't you messing in that Goldman Sachs yesterday
I
a little
did.
bit?
I shorted it off the hop because it was trading down the entire pre-market. I actually shorted a little bit too soon. The stock ran up almost $2 from where I shorted it. Pulled back in a buck, shook me out of my short, and obviously after that came down. It's one of those stocks. You ever get those stocks, that you just can't seem to trade. Goldman Sachs seems to be one of those for me. I don't know why. It's just my nemesis. I keep trying to trade it. I should go and look at my P&L for the last couple of years and see if I actually do make money on Goldman Sachs or not. I know my better stocks when we were analyzing were like Johnson & Johnson, the Procter & Gamble's. The Goldman Sachs is just tricky, though. $150 stock, it's always got a 10 or 15 cent spread, and we know in the high-frequency trading world they usually make you pay the spread, so you're usually 10 or 15 cents underwater before you even get into the position. So Goldman Sachs has been a tricky one here, but regardless, the stock, I was right. I just got shooken out of the short. I wish I would have held it.
Goldman Sachs is opening up into yesterday's low, which was 149.90. Currently trading at 149.99 in the pre-market. So as the SPOOs are getting a little bit of a bounce here, if Goldman opens up into that 150 area, you do have support. Below that level, you're looking at the June 24th low of 148.71. But let's see, nice round number two, like 150. It'd be interesting to see if buyers step out here on the down open.
Yeah, most of these financials, actually, interesting enough, had in the morning they were very strong. In the afternoon they were very weak. So I don't know if they had an inkling into that there was going to be some or S&P rating cuts there on the European financials. But if you bring up a chart of Morgan Stanley, same thing from yesterday. It was very strong all morning, like basically for the first 2 hours, and then just turned around and I actually got destroyed there over the next 3 hours. This is a huge reversal for Morgan Stanley. Got as high as I think 25.19, pulling all the way back, and low as 24.19. So you basically had a dollar range there in Morgan Stanley. The selling pressure is continuing a little bit here this morning. It's down another 20 cents. Obviously S&P futures are down as well.
Kind of a similar scenario that you have with the Goldman Sachs. This stock is trading just above yesterday's low, which was 24.10. So we'll keep an eye on that. 24.26 currently trading. Actually got a straight print here a little bit ago, under 24 down to 23.76. But that level, under the $24 level, you also have the June 24th low of 23.91. So that whole 24 is good support in Morgan Stanley. And, once again here, you're getting a little lift in the market. So these stocks are opening into support.
Let's go on to the analyst upgrades and downgrades here, because there's a few. Alcoa, which I know is your favorite stock, is getting downgraded by JP Morgan here this morning. Stock is trading down in the pre-market 16 more cents, 7.80. It closed that trading at 7.64. We are actually getting towards actually trading through and I think making new lows on the year now on Alcoa, so that is obviously not good news. Stock's been dead money for the better part of 5 years and continues to obviously disappoint. Obviously JP Morgan here is citing that they don't think it's going to get much better for Alcoa in the near future.
754 was the low that you hit here in the pre-market. Gotten a little bounce off of that. So far, the low of the move has been 770. But once again, this is, even though it is a downgrade here, it's a pretty big move for the stock here, and a shortened session too. So I'd keep an eye on the pre-market low is 754. And even though it's new lows for the move here, once again, this is a real thick stock, trades a lot of volume. So with this kind of a big move, I would be looking for some support right around that 755 level.
And I think if you get back up into that whole 770 area where that old low was, I think you might find some resistance here now too. Possibly, you never know. Even off the open, sometimes these things open a little bit higher than they should. So it's a lot of times a good technical trade, or even a good trade, just an edge where if you look at where the pre-market range is, and if it's typically been trading down 760, and all of a sudden it starts to get a run up, maybe right before the open into the 770 area, sometimes it'll give you an opportunity opportunity to get on a good short. I actually had a trade like that in Pfizer yesterday. It was trading down the pre-market quite significantly, down 20, 30 cents, popped up and only opened down a dime, and you can get an edge there. So it's always good, sometimes right at that 9:30 specialist, of which they now call a designated market maker on the floor, might open the stock too high or too low, and it gets you a chance to get out of a position that maybe you don't want to have on or initiate a short. Moving on, Joel, CMA upgraded at Citigroup. I know you found this upgrade interesting because of the price target there, Joel. They're raising the price target to 41. What are your thoughts on that?
I had to run this one by Brent here on the Benzinga news desk. When I'm always like just like look at these ratings. I mean, they're upping it now from a neutral to sell. Their price target was 31. So if you already sold it at 31, who cares that you upped your price target up to 41, right? And now it's trading at 40.73. So I don't understand why they do these kind of things, but it is an upgrade. It's been coming up on the high of the move. The high of the move, yesterday's high, 40.94. This has actually held up quite a bit better than some of the other bank stocks here, but on the other hand, it didn't have as much a run either. Just keep an eye on the parameters from yesterday that we have in this issue. You had a 40.94 high, probably a big seller kicking around there at the $41 level. Closed quite a bit off the low at 40.14. So 41's the number to look at on the upside, this Coal America Bank.
Yeah, the CMA, just looking at it closed at 40.73 actually, but the stock, if you just take an upgrade, downgrade, and look at it, it's 20. If it hits a price target of 41, it's 27 cents only up from here. So it seems like when they go from aren't you supposed to be selling when it hits your price target? So they go from sell to neutral. Shouldn't they be going like from neutral to sell at this point? So I don't know. They seem to not all that good anyways. Well, I don't know where you need to keep beating up on the analysts here, but I think they're a little late to be upgrading the stock, obviously, at this point in time. Best Buy here getting reinstated with a buy at Goldman Sachs. Price target actually $34. So obviously this has still got some room to run is what Goldman Sachs thinks. I'm looking at this chart, though. This has just been on an incredible tear since November of last year when the stock bottomed out in the low 11s. We're now at $29. So 11, we're approaching a stock up 160 or 180% here in the course of 4 months. It's also a stock that I don't think the fundamentals are like increasing, and this is this huge growth company here that can have these huge runs continue. This is a company that, in my opinion, and I know in your opinion in the past, probably needed to reinvent themselves. But some the shareholders obviously are thinking something else, and it's been on an incredible tear.
It got up to 29.91 on Monday, getting close to a nice round number like 30. Couldn't get quite up there yesterday. 29.72 was the high before selling off for the rest of the market here. So 20 cents is it's kind of a little bit of a stretch here to call it at a double bottom here. But that $30 level is looming large here. Not getting a big bounce off the Goldman Sachs upgrade. Let's just take a little bit longer term look in this, and I think we'll probably have to go to the monthlies here to get a better perspective on this stock. Hasn't sniffed the $30 level since July of 2011, nearly 2 years ago. It got back up into the 30s, so could be taking a little bit breather here at the $30 level.
Walgreens same-store sales comps come out up 2.3%. That wasn't enough, though. They wanted to see a little bit better number than that. And WAG is trading down about 50 cents on those same-store sales. Chart itself looks, I don't know what to say. It's kind of been starting to break down here, obviously, over the last month. Made basically a double top up in the whole 51 area, and since then it's been straight down. Obviously, had the gap down day. 44 it has found support at. If we take that out, though, there's a 44.04 low on the 25th of June. If we take that out, there's a lot of air below.
Right. The low so far here in the pre-market has been 44, right on the nose. You really have had, four out of the last six lows in the lower 44 quadrant there. Now you're starting to break down on that. Let's go to a little bit longer term of a chart here, a weekly here to get a perspective on the stock. It has had a huge run. You start to cut through the $44 level. You really don't. Isn't that like that 42 to 44 area? Didn't they have like a blowout of earnings back here and just kind of had a? I think I ended up losing a bet to you on that too. When it gapped up and went to 42, 43, 44, 45. So you could get the reverse action on the downside here if it can't hold the $44 level.
Yeah, we always say what moves up quickly can move down quickly, and it did move up quickly through that whole 42, 43 handle, so I don't expect a lot in there. Obviously, support is support until it's broken, though, so that $44 level remains huge. Back to the minis, Joel. We had jobless claims come out. The market's actually enjoying this number here because the market is trading only down 3 points now. So we've had a 10-point rally off of the lows, trading at 1604 right now, moving around quite rapidly actually, trading in choppy trade here. What's your strategy for today? We obviously had this overnight low of 1594. We know we had multiple lows there in the past. I know on the pre-market site that you had cited that 1594 as being a key level, which looks like it is the case. Do you think we get back down and test that today, or is that we already had the test overnight, and do we continue to move higher from here?
Coming back up on the upside here, you do have the overnight at overnight high at 1608.50. A couple closes right in that area too, just below 1606.75 and '07 and a quarter. So I think it's going to have a real tough time getting back up through that area today. I think even if it gets through there, I think sellers are going to be stepping ahead, way ahead of Monday and Tuesday's high, which is close up to 1620. Coming back on the downside, you do have 1600 and a quarter Tuesday's low as as a decent support number now, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to take out that 1594 today.
That's our show for today. We do apologize for the lag in the audio. We will work that out and get you a better quality show there on Friday. Tomorrow's day off, so we will be back with you guys on Friday morning. Have a great trading session.